During the first days of December 2022, Alanim's Hashmalim and Shinanim operatives on the surface at the time reported that they had been observing a certain street in a city, and more specifically a certain segment only 50 meters long of that street. It is a suburban, well-paved, comparatively low-traffic, straight two-way street with an unusually high rate of constant accidents, at least 3 of them fatal run-overs, 2 of them a short time apart. And in another occasion a man was run over by a lorry, or truck full of soft drinks, while slowly moving in reverse in plain daylight, leaving the young man crippled and in a wheelchair for life. Also there an unreally high and constant amount of motorcycle crashes and accidents, including police motorcycles in 3 occasions. But the curious thing is that most of those crashes are simply against the ground and not against anything else, their riders losing control and ending up on the floor for no apparent reason at all, sometimes blaming the surface as it is very smooth and slippery when wet. But those accidents occur when dry as well, and in plain daylight, and always within that same segment. Besides motorcycle accidents, many car accidents occur as well in that same segment of the street. No less than 5 times cars have crashed against parked ones, twice against the same parked truck severely damaging it the second time, and countless other traffic incidents, mostly involving moving vehicles of all kinds, all this happening in the same 50-meter segment of the street. At first anyone would think that all this is happening because of normal risk factors, but that segment is just about the same as any other in that whole street, and it is itself just about the same as any other street in that area. And as observed, being a straight, there is very good visibility there, where drivers can see incoming vehicles up to 200 meters away in either direction from the center of that 50-meter problematic segment, and vehicles are parked only on one side of the street. There is no obvious physical reasons why accidents would occur there. On the contrary, the whole area should be statistically safe. Some months before, a strange gust of wind was reported in the same city that is not known for having especially strong winds. I mean one isolated gust, one that traveled through some places in that same city destroying things, billboards, and knocking down trees. You could follow its path of destruction just looking at the damage it caused. It traveled through the city one night, and tore a strong tree off its roots right before, or at that specific 50-meter segment of the road I mentioned above, and disappeared. The last damage that gust of wind caused was that tree that was downed, or dropped in front of the exit of a house, just before the owners had to move their vehicle out to go and solve a very serious situation they had in that very moment, also bringing down with it telephone and electricity cables. As if the gust of wind knocked down that tree on purpose to block them from trying to solve their serious problem. They live within that 50-meter long segment. Considering all this, all together and not only seeing isolated incidents, Alanim and her crew, in Starship Toleka, decided that all this was not normal, and dispatched a 110 centimeters spherical drone to go there and recollect information using its advanced sensors. The drone overflew the entire area, mapping its entire frequency map, energy fluctuations, and variations to then proceed to study that 50-meter long segment of the street closely, detecting all the subtle energy and its frequency dynamics and variations. What the drone found out was hair-raising. There is a huge invisible portal right there in that 50-meter segment, a dip in frequency, where the average vibration of matter in the whole street and area drops dramatically, right there, explaining all the accidents. The drone proceeded to recollect all the data to know from where, and what was generating the portal. It is a doorway to the underworld, to the lower astral realms I was talking about in my very last video, with all kinds of entities looking and coming in and out from it, but apparently staying within the affecting range of the portal. As I was saying in my previous video, when a person is a frequency match to something on the other side, some form of interaction can occur. Everything is frequency concurrency. Astral entities, formerly in a human body or just animals, can control their frequency to a certain point, when they concentrate in trying to reach the frequency of a person in the material world. So a living person that for whatever reason is holding a low vibratory state, can be reached by one or another of these entities. These lower astral entities do feed from low and dense energy that is given off from living organisms when suffering occurs. These lower astral entities have a very weak connection to Source, or not at all, because they are simply too far from it in their existential frequency range. So as understood by the Taygetans, what keeps them existing is the creative attention of beings with a strong, or stronger connection to Source. In other words, you need to give them attention for them to continue to exist. When a living person, or creature in the material world is in its average range of thought, its attention is dispersed, jumping from one thought to the next. In that state, its creative and manifestation capacity is not concentrated on one thing, but when a person or creature is in fear, all its attention will flow towards what it fears. We manifest what we concentrate on, we manifest whatever holds our consistent attention the most. Fear and suffering act as a concentration instrument that will bring into being more of whatever we are fearing as we are focused on it. Those entities feed off that attention, being it as direct attention to them to strengthen their mild and weak astral body, or with the constant suffering of beings with a strong connection to Source, as most humans have. A good example of this are night visitors, or night visitations, those that are linked to sleep paralysis such as incubus and succubus among others. They want you to be afraid of them, that's why they are called night terrors, and they know how to induce that fear state in people. When you fear them, they stay with you and become stronger and repeatedly come back to haunt your sleep night after night. But if you face them fearlessly, and you connect to Source consciousness with your thoughts, feeling and thinking loving emotions, and imagining that you are covered in a ball of high-frequency yellow light, those entities will not come back to bother you again. You become useless to them as you don't give off any of that fear-concentrated attention they need and crave. And they will go bother someone else, as I've said before, someone holding a lower vibratory state.